What's up, everybody? So, as you may not know, I'm a massive Arc 1 fan.
Arc release
So
date confirmed,
we've got this
2023.
news.
Now it says coming soon on the Steam store page. Xbox revealed there's going to be an update in June 13th. So we still got 6 months before we hear anything else.
2023 and soon, 6 months before we get an update. I'm calling 2024, 2025. If it does come 2023, you're looking towards the end of the year. That's for certain.
What does this mean? Has it been delayed because they're hard at work trying to improve the graphics on the new Unreal Engine 5? We'll get to that in a minute.
Let's hope so.
Maybe the mechanics, they're trying to script everything? Or is it maybe something more sinister behind the scenes that we're not aware of?
HOD's made a video. Art publisher Snail Games exposed for corruption, cheating, and blackmail. Oh, that's going to be worth a watch for sure.
I don't know if you've seen the HOD's recent video on the Snail Games corruption thing. Yeah, that would be big if that was the reason behind it, and maybe there's some legal complications behind the scenes, but we don't know anything. What about the pros and cons of Arc 2 being delayed? All right, let's check it out. Firstly, Unreal Engine 5, like I mentioned, it is insane. And you know what? If you follow Arc's Twitter, you may have noticed that they may have teased something along the lines of Arc 1 getting a remaster with the Unreal Engine 5.
Why? Why would we need a remaster on a game that's been played to absolute death? Put all your focus into Arc 2. I mean, unless you plan on making Arc 2 go from Arc 1, and you can keep all your buildings and stuff like that, whatever's going on, into the new game, I don't see a point. Unless it's like a consistent, like it's going to keep flowing, I don't see a point in remaking the game, because the game has been played to death, it's been modded to death, and anyone who's got any interest in Arc at this point either still plays the game or has done enough that they're content. So I was a beta tester. I paid £15 for the game. I've got 600, 700, 800 hours in the game easily. So I got a money's worth. I have no intention of going back to a remastered version because the game looks good already. And unless you've got a 4090 Ti RTX 3000, I imagine if you run it on max settings, it's going to run, and ray tracing, I'm going to assume it's going to have ray tracing. It'll probably run like absolute shit. So just keep going with Arc 2. Why do we don't need an Arc 1 remaster, personal opinion, obviously.
Update. Now that would be insane. I don't know if you've seen the Unreal Engine videos that they've put out, especially with LODs and
they
nanites,
like 10 FPS.
and then you have the lighting.
Most potatoes won't be able to
looks
run
realistic.
this.
I swear it's so good, and it's going to be really good for gamers. So yeah, I mean, that's the other point, right? I mean, if they're working hard on Unreal Engine 5 on Arc 2, and they're also doing an update on Arc 1 to make that up to date, that's going to take some time as well.
And we'll be loving all of it on medium graphics with over 60 FPS, not ultra graphics, new engine, obviously with no choice in the engine, 25 FPS slideshow. The game runs like poo, and I can't imagine that changing with Arc 2, but we shall see, fingers crossed.
And especially if, I don't know if you can port from Unreal Engine 4 to 5, but they'll probably use some of the same assets that they have in Arc 1 and Arc 2 in the Unreal Engine 5. I mean, look at the user stats right now. Hold on, let me just go on the webpage. Steam charts, right? Steam charts, check it out. Arc is 12th right now, while I'm recording this video on the 13th of January, 2023. We are 12th with 68,000 people currently playing. Arc 1 is not dead.
No, Arc 1 isn't dead, which I was saying before. But the people that are playing it, so they maintain a player base. Firstly, I joined a PvE server for a change, so I was a bit sick of the grind set of PvP, and it's just demoralising playing with a load of children who run around killing bobs in the spawn points. But once you've got breeding, looking after your teams, feeding them, everything else, that keeps a consistent player base coming back at least every couple of days. Officially, it's a grind set game, and most servers you've got a week. You don't log on for a week, your stuff can be dismantled and destroyed, which is literally what happened to me. I went on holiday and then everything was gone, and then I uninstalled the game for the third time. But yeah, I'd say also a lot of Chinese bots, but the servers aren't built for this sort of prolonged periods of time. These mega builds, these mega tribes, all they do is make everything lag everywhere. So they need to sort that for Arc 2 and the remaster, apparently. But yeah, it's not a dying player base. It's always going to have fans. The server I used to play on, consistently 40 people a day. But then the mega tribes and the big PvP servers, 60, 70 people each day, every day. So that's where it's getting its player base from at the moment. I would have said a lot of Chinese people, Chinese bots, Chinese people. I don't know what they are playing on EU servers as well. Again, bringing mass amounts of tames over to caves and stuff. It's crazy. The game's in a weird spot, that's for sure. It's like there's too much content and too many things you can have, which is, servers process the data so badly. Like, so where my base was, you'd look and you'd turn to your left to be a mega base. Just there, you'd drop about 20 frames. So, yeah, it's definitely something with the game that needs to be looked into.
It's still going strong. And yeah, that's why we're releasing a new Arc Ascension series for 2023. And we're also going to incorporate some of the new mods and get some recognition for the mod authors. I think that'll be really good for the community. And there's still plenty of mod authors making amazing new maps, which could be released in the official servers. I think that would be really good as well.
If they brought out a new map pack, I mean, people have made the maps. It's just for them to port them into the game. If they made these maps and they brought out, they'd bring a ton of the player base back. New dinosaurs, modded dinosaurs, whatever. But the new maps are most important because you get new caves, you get all the experiences all over again, you get to fresh start, there's a reason to start again. Even I'd consider it if it didn't take about 100 gig of storage just to install the game without the mods.
Just to increase the longevity. Okay, now, that was the Unreal Engine 5 update, right? Okay, then they also have to script their own mechanics and stuff into the game. Okay, that can take time, and you want a game to be as much polished as possible, right? You don't want to release an
Just to argue this point, it seems to be the way that games are going that they're always a terrible mess on the release date, unless it's obviously an indie game. Even then, they're not perfect. If they put it in early access, it's usually early access for a reason. I was a beta tester for Ark, like I said before. Couldn't even open the game for about a week. I can't imagine Ark 2 being any different. A lot of AAA titles seem to be going this way, where they release the game, it gets stress tested, and then boom, it just implodes on itself and they have to patch it up, which I can imagine happening to Ark 2 because a lot of people are going to be playing this game when it eventually releases in 2024 or 25.
Release game. But yet games like No Man's Sky, Cyberpunk, the devs actually held up their own and improved it after release.
Yeah,
but yeah,
they
you don't want to rush developing a game. Look at Elden Ring. That thing came out of nowhere and that thing is amazing. Okay, so that's one reason why it could be delayed. The other thing would be Snail Games doing corruption with their... Oh, God. Just check out Hod's video. Just check that out.
Need to watch this video.
And the third reason is, well, this was actually kind of expected. I mean, Wildcard have been doing this since Ark was in early access. When they promise a new feature, a new release, new update, it always gets delayed by a couple of weeks or months or whatever it is, right? And expansions. Don't forget the expansions. But anyways, regardless if Ark 2 comes out later this year or even next year, it doesn't really matter. We still got Ark 1, are still going strong. And yes, well, I still got to check out Survival of the Fittest, actually. Maybe
Survival of the Fittest is terrible. It's not really maintained. Yeah, for sure. If Ark 2 comes out, I'll be playing it. But yeah, definitely not a dead game by any means. But it's not the most alive game either. It's got a lot of problems going with it, which I hope Ark 2 doesn't have as well. But we'll be keeping up to date with that. Like I said, we'll watch Hod's video as well next, and then hopefully sometime later in the year get some gameplay that we can at least have a look at. Anyway, peace.